Welcome to the class of project management. Today's topic is elementary investment options. What are the options available? See, in every organization, the finance which is available, the funds which are available, those are not indefinite. Those are always limited. So those limited resources, those limited funds, you try to put in, you try to invest in those units or SBUs where you know that it will be giving you the maximum return, right? So what are the investment options where you can invest those funds? First one is replacement and modernization. Next is capacity expansion. Then comes vertical integration, concentric diversification, conglomerate diversification, and the third one is divestment. So let's see them one by one in detail. What do you mean by replacement and modernization? It means when any company, any organization tries to invest money to maintain the production capacity of the firm or to increase or to improve the quality, right? Suppose it was capacity of the firm was of the plant was 1 lakh units per day. Until now, it was using only the 70,000 units per day. So it can be improved by getting more, either the more raw material, or the other way is if it was giving 50,000 now and one more plant can be invested, one more machinery can be put up, and it will also further increase 50,000. 50,000 units already you are producing, and then another 50,000 can be in. It will give you the economies of scale, in the sense your building is same, your employees are same, everything is same, only the raw material and that plant cost will increase, another machinery cost, right? So this is one investment option. You can think of doing this. The other one is it also gives competitive strength of the firm, that will improve. Competitive strength of the firm will be improving. If such investments are neglected, the existence of firm in the market is difficult, just like cotton industry. See, if sometimes it becomes obsolete, or your production is so low that you are not working on a proper scale in the industry, then what happens? You go out of the business. So that's why replacement and modernization is required from time to time. This is what has been happened. Our cotton industry, our textile industry, it went back. It came on the verge of becoming a sick unit, just because they did not invest in the modernization, or they did not replace the machineries which they were using it. The other option is capacity expansion. It will help to utilize the full capacity of resources of a firm. This is what we talked about, that if 50,000 you can make it to 1 lakh. It will help to meet current demand of a firm and increase in the market share. Of course, if like you are selling 50,000 right now in the market, and then suddenly you start selling double the amount and double the units, so it increases your market share. Your total number of customers will increase. Lower capital cost, familiarity with the technology, production methods, market conditions, reduction in unit overhead costs are the advantages of capacity expansion. It will bring down your capital cost. You'll become familiar with the technology. Your production methods and market conditions will also reduce. Shubham is joining us. Okay. After that, we have vertical integration. Vertical integration may be of two types: backward integration and forward integration. First of all, let's try to understand what is vertical integration. See, there is a supply chain in every business, right? That from one unit, from one business, you are getting the raw material. That raw material is getting processed, then you are giving your final outcome, and it is going to the third organization, third business, isn't it? So there is a supply chain. So what happens? The raw material of the final product of the first business might become raw material for the second business, and the final product of second business might become the raw material for the third business, right? So it is a supply chain. Supply chain, when we try to conquer either backward or the forward side, that means the next level, then it becomes forward integration. If we try to conquer the raw material from where we are getting the raw material, then that becomes the backward integration. Backward integration, it involves the manufacture of raw materials and components required for the existing operations of the company. I'll try to explain it with an example. And forward integration, it involves the manufacture of products which use the existing products of the company as the input. Suppose we are manufacturing bicycles. For bicycles, we need tubes, we need tires, we need bicycle seats, right? So these we are taking from somebody else, and then we are using them as raw material, right? And then we manufacture the bicycle and we give it further for selling. So those are retail outlets, distributors which are buying our bicycle and then they are selling it out directly to the customer. So in case this is our supply chain. So if we are manufacturing bicycles and we want to own that the car seat which are available to us, those are not available on time or those are not available in proper number. So this is creating problem for us to prepare the orders on time, or the number of units which we want to sell, those cannot be prepared on time because the cars bicycle seats are not available to us on time or not available in the proper number. What we can do, we can own a company or we can own a manufacturing unit of bicycle seats also, that we only have the control. Now we are only producing bicycle seats and those seats are getting used in the manufacturing of the bicycle, and then further we are selling the to the distributors, right? So when we own that bicycle seat company or business, that becomes backward integration because that part we were using as a input, and instead of selling it through we are giving to distributors or other retailers, we can do one thing, that we only start our retail outlets and when we start selling it directly to the customers. That would be a kind of your forward integration. Now coming to the concentric diversification. Concentric diversification means adding more products in the same line of business of product is called concentric diversification. Like Hero Honda, it added Splendor, then it added Splendor Plus, then Passion, then all other brands in the same motorbike only they were adding up. So product is same, you just adding the variants, right? So that is your concentric diversification, that you are concentrating on one particular product line. And when you start diversifying, that right now you are doing soaps and something, then you switch to mobiles. That is your conglomerate diversification. It involves investment in fields unrelated to the existing line of business. Right now, you are doing something else. It overcomes the limited. Why do we go for conglomerate diversification? We do conglomerate diversification to reduce the risk, right? And the growth opportunity in that particular product might have come down, but when we are entering into the another product, then it opens up the door for other opportunities, right? Take the example of Reliance. It started with what? It is into petroleum also, it is into your digital also, it is into electronic also, it is your Reliance Fresh also. That is a kind of conglomerate diversification in all kinds of different areas they are investing in. Then comes your divestment. It is the opposite of the investment and involves termination or liquidation of the plant or a division of a firm. Divestment means when you know that this is no longer profitable, this business. So instead of investing, you try to release the funds, you try to liquidate it, wind it up, and you can take out the total. You can take out the funds from that. We had discussed 3 criteria, if you remember in the last class: profitability, growth, and risk. On these we decide. So in the same way, these strategies have been discussed in context in light with the profitability, growth, and risk. So in case of replacement and modernization, we have high profitability because profits will increase many times. Growth will be moderate and risk is low. There is no risk involved as such if you see. Then we have capacity expansion. In that also there is a high profitable and moderate growth and moderate risk. Why risk is moderate here? Risk becomes moderate because you never know, you are able to sell 50,000 units very smoothly, but there might not be any further market available for customers available for your product, and you might not be able to sell more products. Vertical integration, it gives you high profits, moderate growth and moderate risk. Next is your concentric diversification. It includes a high growth, moderate risk and moderate profitability. Conglomerate, it has your, what happens in conglomerate? Profitability is moderate. Why it becomes moderate? Suppose Reliance Digital in electronics, in telecommunication, it was making huge profits. But when it entered into the petroleum, so refinery, it started up the petrol pumps. Remember, it wasn't that profitable, or maybe in the beginning it went down. It was in losses. So what was the reason? Their profitability was just moderate, but growth was high. They entered into new sector, so it led to the growth of the company, and the risk is always low because the risk in one sector gets compensated by the profit in another sector. Then we have divestment. This is divestment. We have high profitability in the sense that all your funds get released, you get it in your hand, right? But low growth and low risk involved. Now we have some portfolio planning models. See, what is portfolio? If a company has many products, so that company needs to decide in which particular product they should be investing more, or they should be divesting, or they should hold on the same amount of funds, right? In the same way, if company doesn't have many kinds of products, but it has same product in many areas, it is selling the same product in, take an example of Apple. Apple is selling the same product in India also, in UK also, in USA also, in Germany also, getting. So they have to decide that these are their SBUs. So in these SBUs, which is more profitable, which SBU they should be selecting, and they should be investing more, right? So whether they should be selling it more in India, or they should be investing more for the expansion in UK or in Germany. So that is your portfolio planning. Portfolio means selecting out the best investment option where you should be investing in. And for this purpose, two very famous tools were introduced. First is BCG Product Portfolio Matrix, and another one is General Electric's Stoplight Matrix, right? So what is BCG Product Portfolio Matrix? It is Boston Consultancy Group product, and it is a 2x2 matrix. It is a tool for strategic planning and resource allocation. The Boston Consulting Group product portfolio matrix analysis products on the basis of relative market share and industry growth rate. Relative market share is taken on the horizontal side, and the this market growth is taken on the vertical side. So then how do we see? We see there are stars, question marks, cash cows and dogs. If the market share is high and your market growth is also high, that would be your star. If your market share is high and market share is low and your growth is high, that is your question mark. If you have very good market share, existing market share right now, but growth rates are less, then it becomes your cash cows. And if both the things are low, then it is a dogs. So let's see them. What are stars? Products which enjoy a high market share and a high growth rate are referred as stars. Though they earn high profits, they require additional commitment of funds because of the need to make further investment for expanding their production and sales. Stars are those products which are doing very well and they have a very good growth opportunity. So you should not hesitate in investing in stars. If some product is at the stage of star, at that phase that it is a star, then company can, without any second thought, company can invest in the stars because there is a very good opportunity and it will increase the market share also. Question marks means products with high growth potential but low present market share are called question marks. See what happens in question marks. There are some products which have very growth potential, but right now the market share is so less that right now they are getting sold very less in number, very few in numbers. So what happens in that case? Company tries to invest in those so that they can be converted into stars. Additional resources are required to improve their market share. You can always promote those products to increase their sale. So you need to spend money on the promotional activities, advertising and all, so that it increases the sale and it increases the market share also. Sorry. Then we have cash cows. Products which enjoy a relatively high market share but low growth potential are called cash cows. They generate substantial profits and cash flows, but their investment requirements are modest. In the sense, these are the products which are on the maturity stage of PLC. They have very good market share, they have done well, but now we don't see any growth potential left in those products. They would be going down. So rather than investing in these products, we should not try to invest, or if we see that the growth can be increased, only then we try to invest the cash cows to convert them into question marks. Then we have dogs. Dogs are those products which have very low market share and very limited growth potential, right? So dogs means there is nothing left, nothing is left in that. The growth chances are also very bleak, and so we are not advisable. It is always advisable not to put money in the dogs, right? So we rather discontinue with these products and we try to release the funds. See, what are the suggested pattern of resource allocation? If you have a cash cow and you have dogs, so dogs, we generally try to release the funds from the dogs, and those released funds should be invested back either in the question marks or it should be invested in the stars. But you should not invest any of your funds in the dogs. Same goes for cash cows. If it is generating funds, then you can convert it by investing funds either in the question marks or you can convert it into the stars, right? But coming to this pattern, it is never advisable that from cash cows, if you are investing in cash cows, it will convert into your cash cows and your dogs. If you are investing in this, it will get converted into the dogs. Somehow this eraser is not working. Then we have General Electric stoplight matrix. It was developed by General GE Company of US with the help of McKinsey and Company in 1970, right? So it is called as a improvised version of BCG matrix. BCG matrix was very basic 2x2 matrix, but this is your 3x3 matrix. So in this, we have business strength on one side and we have industry attractiveness. Now before going to this, on the horizontal we have taken business strength and on the left side we have taken industry attractiveness. Let's understand what do you mean by business strength. Business strength Business strength can be defined in terms of your market share, growth rate, your brand strength, your customer loyalty, and your industry attractiveness means what is the total market size, what is the expected growth rate in the market size, right? So that would decide your industry attractiveness, and the business strength is your related to your business, whether it is customer loyalty or strength of your brand or what is your market share. So we have 3 by 3, there are 9 cells. This is given strong, average, weak, and on the left side vertically it is given high, medium and low. See, if a business strength of a business is high, it is strong, it is very strong, and it has high industry attractiveness also, then we go for invest. If business strength is average and the industry attractiveness is medium, it is invest, and it becomes weak business strength and industry attractiveness is medium. And if it is this diagonal, if you can see it, this diagonal, hold, this diagonal is something we need to take care of actually. See, it is very much clear. In these cases, invest, you need not to think so much. You have to just invest the money. In case of divest also, you know that it is not going to be profitable, so you better divest your funds. But when it is in the position of hold, that needs to be a scrutiny, a detailed analysis to be done in the case of hold. Because in that position, it can either get converted into invest or it can come down to divestment, right? So it might take the place of first 3 cells or it can come down to the bottom 3 cells. So this needs to be studied very detailed. Then we have the example of GC Matrix of Maruti Udyog. It was founded in 1981. What are the products of Maruti? You must be aware, that's why I've taken a general topic. It's Maruti 800, Omni Alto, SX4, Swift, Desire, A-Star, WagonR. Let's put them in the GC matrix. See, Swift is in the invest category because there is a high business strength and there is a high market share. Same goes Swift Desire. It has a market share is medium, but the business strength is high. In case of Alto, business strength is medium, but the market share is high. So these are your invest products. And when comes your Baleno, Versa and Omni, these are your divestment area, right? But WagonR, SX4 and A-Star, these are on the hold position. So company can put investment to convert, to increase the attractiveness, to increase the market share of WagonR by putting on some money, or they can invest the competition, the strength of A-Star, business strength, by bringing some new changes or by adding the new features in A-Star, right? So I hope this matrix made it clear. What do we mean by G9 matrix? Basically, both the matrix BCG and G9, these are used for portfolio planning. But in case of BCG, it is 2 by 2 matrix. So it just talk about black and white. There is no gray area. But in case of G9, it also takes about the medium range of the things. So it talks about the gray area also. The things are not black and white. There is a gray area. It can be either converted into black or it can be go into white, right? So that's why it is considered as an improvised version and it is generally preferred as compared to that. Remove these arrows, whoever is trying to put, please. So business strength is how strong the firm is as compared to the competitors, and industry attractiveness is what is the attractiveness or potential of the industry. So on these basis, then we decide that how to allocate our resources, how to allocate our funds. The commitment of funds to various products is guided by how they are rated in terms of the above 2 dimensions. Products which are unfavorably placed call for divestment, and products which are placed in between qualify for modest investment. This whole area, it is a kind of modest investment. So we'll continue tomorrow now. That's all for today. You can ask your questions and queries.